Hello my fellow mercenaries of New Eden, my name is Eddie Rio, and there's a new piece of equipment coming in 1.8 that I'm very excited about. Cloaking. Look at that. We are going to be able to make ourselves invisible. Some people are not going to like this, other people are going to really enjoy this. I have a feeling that after 1.8 drops on the 25th of March, probably quite a lot of the matches are going to include everybody running around invisible or cloaked, and I think it will take a little bit of a time for the novelty of this to wear off, and people will probably get quite annoyed and frustrated with it immediately. But once the kind of novelty factor of it wears off and you come into, the longer term relationship with cloaking, then I think it will be a great asset to this game. So the cloaks are pretty much being made for the scout suit, and I've been using the scout suit a little bit recently with Nova knives and my combat rifle, as you see in this video here, and I've been absolutely loving the scout. It's a completely different way of playing. It's not the kind of Slayer way you have to run away from battles and keep your distance and only engage when you feel like you need to, and being able to fit a cloak onto that as well, so that if need to you could run around behind a corner and hold your cloak, or quickly try and sprint off and hold your cloak. What they're going to do is make it so that if you're standing dead still, you're completely invisible and they can't see you. And if you start to move, then a blurring effect will be caused and other players will just about be able to see you, which I think is a really good way of balancing it. It's also going to be a piece of equipment like your repair tool or nano hive that you have to hold in your hands. So once you've cloaked, you can't pull out your gun or you can't do anything else other than move around. As soon as you pull out your gun or you throw a grenade, you're going to be decloaked so that other players can see you. Another interesting little fact that they put on there is you're not going to decloak if you're hacking an objective or a vehicle. So you can run around to the side of a vehicle or an empty LAV that's just knocking around, and you can hack it and no one's going to be able to see you, which I think is pretty cool. So some sort of stealth stealing of vehicles or hacking of some points or CRUs is going to be pretty cool and very useful for the scout, because that's the kind of work of the scout, is to run behind the enemy lines and hack stuff as well. Now, there is a lot of drama about cloaking, I can see so far, but it's sort of mixed emotions of people. Some people don't want it, some people do want it. I think a while ago I was kind of against cloaking, but as I've sort of played other games like PlanetSide 2 and Titanfall, which has also just been released recently, they both use cloaking, and it's both sort of that futuristic sci-fi FPS game, which Dust is, and is sort of kind of competing with on those levels. I think that cloaking works really well and is really balanced. That's the thing that they've got to get right, is the balance here, and from having it as a piece of equipment that you have to select and then activate, I think is going to be that balance that we're going to need for it in Dust 514, and I'm really looking forward to it. They put at the very bottom of the dev blog of the equipment that they're doing that they're nervous and excited about seeing cloaking introduced into Dust 514, and I think that it's going to be a little challenge for everybody who plays the game as well as the developers to find that balance for this module and to try and make it work. So don't be so skeptical of it at the beginning, and if perhaps it doesn't quite work, let's try and voice our concerns constructively towards CCP so that they can make those changes that might make it better if it is a bit fiddly at first. So they're making a few other changes to other pieces of equipment that they mention on this dev blog. None of them is really important as the cloaking which is coming in, but a few which I think is quite important, and the range on repair tools has been reduced, and I think the Minmatar Logistics is the only logistics suit that has bonuses towards the repair tool. And looking at it, I thought that all the logistics were going to have sort of bonuses towards repairing, but obviously not. So it's like if you want to be a repairer, you have to be Minmatar. So I don't know whether that's something that perhaps they could change in the future, but it seems a bit silly to me that the other three logistics have kind of bonuses to the other things which aren't actually you know, being that logistical towards other players, like the scanners and stuff, and the drop uplinks. I guess they are, but I don't know. I think that they should all have a bonus to the repair tool, and then each one in turn should have a different sort of separate bonus relating to it. Also, something I found quite funny was on the cooldown timers for the active scanners being increased, and blah blah blah. They go on about, you know, the functionality of it being changed, but they they basically want to stop the scannerinas, which is sort of taking the mick out of a ballerina, jumping up, spinning round with their scanner and taking a 360 swipe of the area. And I thought that was quite a nice little feature, actually. I quite liked seeing people do that when they were to scan in the area. So, but that's one other little change that they're making. They're also making a few other sort of nerfs and buffs to the other pieces of equipment that you get, and you know, they're all just little numbers moving around here and there, not that important. So if we move on to the next dev blog that I think was released about a week ago from when I was doing this now, heavy and light reinforcement. The drop suits are coming, thank God for that. I've been talking about this in most of my commentaries that I do about wanting the full racial variants. After seeing the imagery from it almost a year ago now at FanFest, when they said that that was part of their plan, and it just seems like it's taken for ages, and it has taken for ages, but we finally get to see all the other suits, and that's, you know, the full racial varieties are all going to be in, and that is great. And they're going to give you your skill points back that you have in dropsuit command, so that you can respec into something else. I think that's a good idea. I don't think we should have had a complete full respec. You know, if you need some more points in armor, or you've swapped from shields to armor, or you want to use a different gun, then, you know, spend a few weeks earning up the skill points again to be able to use something else. And you can also use your new suit straight away, which I think is a great way of doing it. I don't think they should have done a full respec, because I think that's a little bit too much. But they all look really weird. They've all got their own unique blend to these heavies that they've got, and the Galente one is really weird. It's got like this massive cone thing coming out of his head, and I don't know, I think they're a bit weird. The designs of the heavy, they're not my kind of cup of tea. But I think, you know, they serve a purpose, and they're there and they're in the game, and that's great, and they definitely needed to be there. And we're also getting the two other scouts, so the Amar Light and Caldari Light drop suit. So I think the Caldari Light might be quite a popular one, as everyone seems to like that. I think after I get my drop suit respec, I'm probably going to go into Minmatar Scout, as I've been having a little bit of a play with Nova knives and having really good fun with it. And especially now Cloaking's coming out as well, which is going to be like pretty much for the scout, so I think I can have quite a bit of fun with the Minmatar scout suit, which I think, you know, a lot of people have probably want to skill out of by now, as they're probably a bit fed up with it. But it, you know, it's an interesting suit for me, and one that I kind of want to go into. But yes, we finally get all the suits in the game. Absolutely amazing. Really happy about that. I think that's a step in the right direction for this game. So next, we are also getting a few more light sidearms. We're getting the Caldari pistol and the Caldari SMG, just in case we haven't got enough Caldari stuff in the game at the moment. And we're also getting a Galente pistol as well. I really like the look of the Galente pistol with the kind of little circular nubjule that it's got underneath the main firing chamber there. I think the Galente one looks really cool. I like the look of that. I can almost see that being a spaceship in EVE as well. It's just probably why I like it. Also, they are nerfing pretty much all the damage from all the guns that are in the game. I think this is the attempt to make the TTK reduce, so it's not going to be such insta-kills, insta-deaths. You're going to have to really start slugging it out with people. I think if you can remember, just before the TTK got increased the way it did, some of the fights were quite different. It's going to be, people are going to be shocked at how different this is going to make the game, I think. And, you know, like I said with the cloaking, it's not the thing to immediately go, oh, this isn't working, this is crap. It's to adjust and to try it and to get used to it and then to compare it with how it used to be. And I think increasing the TTK this way is definitely a good thing. It's not only that, it's something that the community has asked for, and they are delivering it as well. One thing which I'm not too sure about is they are reducing the damage modifiers, which at the moment I think goes something from sort of like 3% to 5% to 10% damage, and they're being reduced to 3, 4 and 5% damage. Now the difference from 10% to 5% is pretty massive, so our guns aren't going to be hitting nowhere near as much, especially as they're also getting a bit of a nerf. But from 4% to 5%, that's 1%. That's not very much, and I think there's going to be quite a lot of the good fits are going to be using perhaps a 4% complex, a 4% advanced damage modifier, so that you free up power grid and CPU for other things rather than using the 5% one. Plus the complex one will be more expensive, and can you justify paying that extra ISK for 1% damage? I don't know. I think that's a really interesting one. I think they've perhaps moved those too close together, and I don't think we're going to see people perhaps using the complex damage mod. I'd like to see the statistics afterwards, and I'm pretty sure that people are just going to use the advanced one, which is 4%, so that perhaps they can fit other things on their suit, and it also makes their suit a lot cheaper. They also say that they're buffing the laser rifle and mass driver. I'm really spec'd into the mass driver, and when 1.7 came out I wasn't kind of able to use it because the time to kill was so quick. Someone could just turn around with an assault rifle and blap me before I could perhaps even get one shot off in their face. So I think that's a good thing. Perhaps I might be able to use all the skill points that I've got in my mass driver again, and perhaps it'll be that kind of area of effect defense weapon like it used to be, able to sort of push people back, stop them coming around the corners and bounce stuff off walls and kill them that way, and that was always great fun. But because everyone's going to be quite uber tanked and the damage isn't going to be so much, who knows how that's going to affect it. It's just going to be really interesting to see when it does come out. So yes, oh hello Derek. I'm sort of really excited for Dust 514 again. All this, suddenly get introduced with all this new stuff and patches coming in, and I think they're going to release this on the 25th of March. Normally they kind of release the patch notes a week before, so we'll probably get the patch notes a week Friday, which we'll be able to get all the information and the details from. It's probably just going to highlight all the dev posts that we've got and give us a bit more perhaps of the statistics and anything else that might be coming. Whether there's a few little surprises of other things that they're bringing in, I'm not sure, but we are just have to wait and find out. I think also they're gonna, I feel something brewing for Dust 514 at the moment, and I'm perhaps not too sure what it is. They can't keep going the way that they are and chugging along, especially on the PS3 at the moment. So perhaps at FanFest, which will be coming soon as well, they might reveal perhaps the future of Dust and where it's going to go, perhaps whether it's going to move on to consoles or PC, which I think would be a pretty good move. But I think that's going to be a really important push for the game, and to see what direction it's going to go in, and to reinvigorate it with a bit more life as well. So yeah, there's a few things to get excited about in Dust 514 at the moment, and I do love this game, and I always have fun when I go and play with it, and it's a great little game, and I love its connection to Eve, and I hope that that also gets stronger as well. Just think I should show you this again, just the little cloaking gif that they put in the dev blog, just to wet your whistle a little bit more before 1.8 comes, and the cloaking field. That's the kind of the damage field. When you shoot someone, you get that kind of effect that comes up as they appear and reappear. But I think that's wicked. I can't wait to hide in a corner cloaked and then pull out my Nova knives and attack someone or something. I think that's going to be great. Anyway, what are you looking forward to? Smack in the comments if you aren't looking forward to cloaking, or what suit you'll be speccing into, or if you're just going to spec into the same suit you've already got. So, till next time, take it easy.